with the Bills yesterday. Good morning. It's Thanksgiving week. People are already starting to get more into the holiday mode. Even traffic was a little lighter this morning. The weather was nice. It should have been a home game yesterday. The weather was so nice. Maybe the 12th man would have made a difference in the outcome, but the Bills turned in a spirited performance, only to lose again in the fourth quarter, 18-15, against the Jaguars. So much happened since we last spoke with veteran player Jeff Nixon, who is here with his thoughts this morning. You got a little frog in the throat, I'm hearing.
Oh, you know what? I was at the University of Richmond game Saturday.
Yes, and we'll tell you why in just a second.
I just was screaming for the team to win, and they won. It was a dramatic finish to the game, too.
Well, you weren't there as just, just someone from the audience. You were honored. You have an award here, the final season. You are part of the All-University of Richmond Stadium team.
Right.
And congratulations.
Yeah, it's the last game they ever played at the University of Richmond on that field, and they honored all the guys over the years that had played on that field. Pat Kelly, Jim Kelly's brother, was one of the honorees on it.
I forgot that he played in the NFL.
Yeah, went to the Baltimore Colts, got injured and had a very short career, but it was really such an honor and they brought back not just these all-time, what they considered the all-time greats, but also all of the guys that played in the entire history. So there were 300 guys there.
Wow.
A lot of guys that I played with, and it was
Was it a fun school? Was it a good school?
It was a great school. $50,000 a year tuition.
Wow.
But I got a scholarship, so I was very privileged in that respect.
Wow. Well, you've done
but it was
proud.
A great game. It was 9-1. The Richmond Spiders were 9-1. William and Mary was 9-1 going into the game. Whoever won that game was probably going to go into the playoffs at the Division I AA level. And Richmond won the game with 2 seconds left. They kicked a 50-yard field goal.
Cool.
The guy that kicked the field goal, he had missed 2 prior field goals in the game. I talked to the head coach the very next day, and he said, I was torn with taking him out and putting another guy in, but I said, you know what? No, he's got the experience. Let's leave him in the game. And he kicked it, and they hoisted him on their shoulders at the end of the game. Everybody rushed to the field. What a dramatic way to finish, the playing at that stadium. And then they built a brand new stadium right on campus. Yeah, it was
the alumni here.
Yeah. So.
Then you watched the Bills game.
Then I watched the Bills game. Yeah.
But there was a lot good
outcome.
to say, I think, about it. They just look different.
Yeah, and Perry Fuel, he brings some excitement to the players. It'd be nice to see them win this game, but they came up short again. But this is the longest play in the history of the Buffalo Bills from the line of scrimmage.
Look at him go, T.O., go!
Finally getting the kind of game that he thinks he can play every week. And you know what? If they were throwing the ball to him every week, he probably would have had some other games like this. But unfortunately, they came up short. There was a touchdown there, and Gerard, their quarterback, what a tough guy. If something's not open, he can run for a first down. But we had, a few miscues in the game, too. That was the final play of the game there. T.O. tried his best to get up in the air and catch that, but it was just thrown a little too high. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, I thought, played very good.
I do, too.
But I just don't know if he's going to be the future quarterback of this team. There's guys that will be available next year, both through the draft and obvious through free agency. And I know that Michael Vick is one of those names we hear thrown around, whether or not they can get him here. But the first business is really getting a new head coach and a new coaching staff. I think Perry Fuel, if he could win out the rest of the games, he might be in contention. But because he's part of the old regime, I just hope they retain him as a defensive coordinator, because I think these guys really like him, and he inspired them yesterday. He did tell them, look, you're not playing for me, you're not playing for Dick Duran, you're playing for yourselves, you're playing for the fans. Let's just do everything we can, and you could see it in their play yesterday. They were inspired. They were playing against one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. Maurice Jones-Drew, he's one of the better running backs. They kept him kept him at 66 yards. So the defense came up and played well. Unfortunately, we had a serious injury on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage. Eric Wood broke his leg. I couldn't even watch the replay because it reminded me of my own injuries.
They're not showing it anymore either. Yeah, it's nasty.
It's unfortunate, but that's part of the game of football. And they did bring in some guys, and they shuffled them around. And that's really been the story of this team this year, is that offensive line is inexperienced. They haven't played together. They really don't know. But they played hard yesterday, and that's what I think the fans really wanted to see. They wanted to see the effort there. They wanted to see people, inspired. And I give that to Jerry Fuel. He really did a good job getting these guys up for the game.
All right, we have some calls, and so we are happy to hear what you have to say. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead, please.
This is Mary from South Buffalo. We usually don't watch the game all the way through, but you could see that T.O. was really happy. You could see that, the coach was into the game. Fitzpatrick, I give my hats off. He pulled out a miracle. We at least got so close. And we want to let T.O. know that we have a cat named after him in our house.
T.O. is a cat. How cute. How cute. Maybe he's watching. You never know. I felt that, too. I mean, I felt that, pardon me, Mary, they just looked like there was some kind of like a pressure off their backs. Just get out there and play. They didn't look like there was a lot of coaching mistakes, from the head coach, these crazy calls in the game. None of that.
But keep in mind, now all of the players that are on this team are basically auditioning for maybe a new head coach. The new head coach that the Buffalo Bills are going to bring in, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to the video. They're going to look at the tapes from this year, not the tapes, the digital video, and they're going to analyze each player. They're going to see which guys are really putting the effort out in these last 7 games. So. So each one of them is really, I think, has to prove. I mean, that's their job. They have to go out and show that they can perform. There were still little things that were bothering me in the game. The miscues.
The penalties still. Gee, we lost 2 touchdowns.
We had 2 touchdowns and
chop blocks. What is that? They should know better.
Well, yeah, you should. Sometimes it's difficult to stop from doing that. And because what happens is you've got a player that stands up the other person, and then you have your guy goes low on him, and sometimes you might start up top and go down, and but it was a penalty. Those were good calls.
All right, another phone call for Jeff. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Linda.
Okay, Linda.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, a lot better after yesterday's game, because I have to admit, at least we got a little excitement back.
Right, exactly.
And they did look better. They definitely did look better. I think it was a wise choice getting rid of Duran. And that coach at least had some enthusiasm on the sideline,
Yes.
But I thought he did a good job for just stepping in like that. And, it was very good. I really enjoyed the game yesterday.
Good. Thank you so much. So did I. I mean, they just were like a team that you want to say, hey, we have a shot at this.
Right.
And, with all our injuries, we've been so decimated. We actually had a shot at this.
We're not going to go to the playoffs this year, obviously. So this is the time of year where you want to maybe do a little experimentation, too. I think they need to get in there and see what maybe Freddie Jackson is the running back for this team for the future. I mean, the guy can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he can run. He's been running very consistently. I say maybe start him and see how he does in a game. They still need to find out about Aaron Maben. They drafted this guy #1, and we really haven't seen much of him. Get him in there. I mean, now is the time to really see what these guys got. Let's give them a little bit of experience. So those are things that they may want to look at this. And I like the Wildcat formation. Seems like every time they've gotten into that, they've had some decent plays out of it. So maybe they need to look at that a little bit more, too.
All right, another phone call standing by. We have everybody's peppered and ready to go this morning. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Fitzpatrick played a great game. Nice interception in the first quarter. I really like that. Nice way to set the pace for an interception on the first drive. The offense is just terrible. That offensive line, whoever came up with putting all the rookies on the offensive line in one season, that's a nice coaching move. I don't like this team. We're in the same breath as the Detroit Lions for the longest streak without being in the playoffs.
Right. Well, nobody likes this team. I mean, nobody likes what we're stuck with right now. In fact, you have to understand that offensive line, they've been so decimated.
Yeah,
they're all playing with the rookies. I mean, I don't think that's a choice at this point. This is all they got left.
The good teams in the NFL protect their quarterback, and they give them a little bit of time to throw. On that last throw to Terrell Owens, he was getting pressure, and I think he wanted to get it. If he'd had just another, believe it or not, a half a second to throw the ball, he probably would have been able to put it in there for him. But when you're getting all this pressure on you, and I got to give it to the Jacksonville Jaguars, they didn't sit back and wait for us to drive downfield. They went after us.
Yeah. We
should have done the same thing to them when they were on their last drive.
Yeah, that last drive is...
Again, it is. You've got to have this killer instinct that comes alive in you when you're at the end of the game, and go after them.
Right to the last second.
Don't sit back. Yeah, and just hope they can develop that.
I hope they develop something before the Dolphins. We have them at home next week. Let's hope the 12th man can really help it. If they bring that energy, let's hope we have a different outcome next week.
They put me on the ticket. I'm on the.
You're on the ticket?
Well, on the ticket, they mentioned my game 30 years ago where I had 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery.
Oh, well, there's something to look forward to.
That's something to look forward to, yeah.
And congratulations, sir, with your final season award. Congratulations. All right, Jeff will be back next week after the Dolphins. We'll find out what happens then. Hey, for the latest Buffalo Bills report, keep it right here to Eyewitness Sports at 5, 6, and 11. And don't forget about Sports Final. That's on Sundays at 11:30.